I see that we have Rebecca. I believe Rebecca is from the Denver area. I hope that she's able to join us and we can greet her. Ajahn Proma and Ajahn Singto are there at IIMC, and I hope they can hear us as well. John, are you able to hear?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, great. And it looks as if Rebecca's picture is not of her, but of a Tibetan monk making one of their extraordinary complex pictures. If you've never witnessed that being done, I hope sometime in your lives you'll be able to observe the creation of these wonderful sand mandalas. And it's a labor of absolute devotion and love on the part of the monastics who are doing this. What I had wanted to do today was talk in more detail about the 5 faculties. As you heard me on Wednesday saying, I've been talking about this for years and years and years. The reason that I have been doing this, the reason why the Buddha kept on repeating the same information over and over and over again, is because it is essential in your growth as a practitioner. These 5 faculties, once again, are faith and confidence, concentration, mindfulness, energy and effort, and wisdom. Not only do they tell you why your practice is either going well or not, but you can use these faculties to help correct any problems that are going on in your practice. Within the body of literature that is forming the foundation of this practice, we have the 3 baskets, the Pitaka, we have the Sutta Pitaka. These are the suttas that are declared by the Buddha and some of his close followers at the beginning of the Buddhist era. There's a second body of work called the Vinaya, or the monk rules. There is a third basket called the Abhidhamma. These are the psychological, spiritual, very abstract thinking of the Buddhist revelations. And then there is a body of work that was written in the 3rd or 4th century AD by Ajahn Buddhaghosa, and that's called the Visuddhimagga. The Visuddhimagga took all of the work that monastics and practitioners had done up to that point and combined this into a incredibly complex body of work, recalling all of the techniques and strategies and useful things for growth and practice, and detailing step by step by step all of the things that a practitioner could choose to use to help them grow. Because Theravada is stemming from the elders, from the founding practitioners, we are in that lineage of listening to the wisdom of the elders. And Venerable Buddhaghosa, in his Visuddhimagga, outlines the things that we can do as practitioners to strengthen, to build our practice, and to enhance the 5 faculties. The first thing that he brings to mind or says to us is that we are practicing in order to see impermanence. Impermanence in the physical existence of our bodies and the mind-body processes. If you see these, then you see mind and body, Damma and Rupa. And this provides the practitioner with the actual reason why we practice, to see clearly impermanence from breath to breath, from bodily motions to bodily processes to the mind that is observing these and seeing them change. That was the first thing. We practice to see impermanence. Second piece of advice from the elders is that we must practice seriously. If a person lacks respect for the technique or the results of the practice, then not enough effort is going to be put into the practice. Your concentration will not be strong enough to realize the true nature of body and mind, Damma and Rupa. The third piece of advice that is given is that mindfulness of mental and physical processes must be constant, sustained, uninterrupted, and continuous. Only then can we have deep enough concentration to be built so that eventually insight, knowledge will arise. A follower must do this. While you are awake during your day, you must constantly and continuously be aware of whatever arises in your mind and body, just as it is. Be mindful for the whole day without break. This is not ordinary mindfulness, though. This is sati. This is constant, sustained, and uninterrupted. In my experience, declaring the intention to do this, and at the beginning of my day to continuously note, is exactly one of the steps that I take in order to grow my practice. So even the first steps, the first movements in the bed as you're getting ready to get up, I'm noting, I'm wanting to note, I am seeing what my body is doing. The first footsteps, I'm noting, getting ready to go to the rest of the house and prepare the coffee feed the cats, brew the coffee, do all of the stuff that I do first thing in the morning is done in a practice way, but only if I will remember to do this. And that's where the intention is helpful in doing this. I declare the intention as often as I can because that brings power to the practice. Experiment with reminders is something else other teachers have recommended, that you perhaps set a timer, say once an hour, just to bring yourself back to a mindful breath, a mindful action. Whenever you're walking somewhere, you can take 10 mindful steps. When you're talking with your spouse, with a housemate, with a worker that you're with, listen mindfully, talk mindfully. When you're starting to write something, pick up the pen mindfully. Write mindfully. And when you're thinking and pondering, know that you're thinking and pondering. Can you even be fully mindful for a breath? Sure. If we put our minds to it, our intentions to it, for a half a breath, can you just take one in-breath, fully mindful? The fourth piece of advice the elders give to us is that your practice place must be suitable. But it can be problematic. Is it too cold for you? Is it too hot? Is it too windy? Is it too buggy? Are you too tired, uncomfortable, or too comfortable? Too much noise outside the house? Too much noise inside the house? Too much noise inside your head? People talking and you listening or just hearing? Opening and closing doors, scurrying people around you, traffic noise, traffic, pleasant or unpleasant smells, hunger, irritability. All of these conditions can cause problems in practice. Mindfulness, as it develops, is actually a source of every achievement. By using mindfulness that's been developed and is continuing to develop, can change these enemies and difficulties in the suitability of your practice place into friends. If you're too hot, be mindful of it. And gradually, heat will become a friend. Pain develops in your body, see it deeply. Be mindful of it. And the big concern is that when you're asked to take a look deeply and closely at pain, that it will get so intense that it's going to kill you. Well, these sensations will get louder. They'll become perhaps more severe. But actually, the severity doesn't increase. It's the deeper concentration and mindfulness that is causing this pain to become clearer. You're seeing the pain and discomfort just as it is. And in time, the yogi will realize that the pain is a combination of physical sensation, mental noting, and the body falls away. You're seeing the sensations for just as they are. Now, I'm going to repeat from an elder we all know or may know well. Umpo Chali tells us there's enormous wisdom in sitting and observing pain deeply. And I want you to carry those words with you the next time you're struggling with some pain and difficulty in your body and or in your mind. You want to be able to see the difference between the sensation coming from the source of the pain and the mind. Eventually, you'll not identify that pain and that struggle with yourself. So in reality, the pain does not disturb the practice. This is relatively easy to understand intellectually, but it's a great deal different to actually sit as you are struggling with pain in your back, in your knees, in your mind, and just note and observe what's happening. In fact, as practice goes on, all phenomena become our friends and aids in developing our insight and our eventual enlightenment and freedom with the end of suffering. A practitioner must be indifferent to whether it's cold or hot, warm or buggy. All conditions are to be seen with equanimity. Just observe Ajahn Chali as he goes through the years, seasons, hot and cold, buggy and difficult, hunger. All of the sensations arise to him just as they arise to us. But he's seen deeply into pain and uses it to achieve his own freedom. A fifth item that the Visuddhimagga presents, that a meditator must remember the way in which he attained deep concentration in previous practice times. The practitioner needs to come back to this over and over and over again to help you reestablish deep concentration and deep mindfulness. Look for those places in your home. Look for those temple spaces that are suitable for you, those locations in the forest that are, for whatever reason, is better for you than others. Return to those places often. As the 5 faculties develop more and more, you then begin practicing the 7 factors of enlightenment. And we've spent very little time talking about these. But as you fill the five faculties and get them in balance, then there seems to be the next major stage in your practice development. And you can track them in your practice. You can intend to develop them. Those factors are deep, profound, never-ending mindfulness, deep, profound investigation of whatever arises, great energy arises, a happiness, a profound happiness arises in you, a deep tranquility arises in you, both body and mind, and ultimately equanimity arises in your practice. These factors of enlightenment can be memorized as a list, or much better, develop them in your practice. Intend to profoundly develop these factors of enlightenment, because they literally do bring you to the third and final stages of your own freedom. And these factors of enlightenment must be brought into balance, just like the faculties, and they must become full. And at that point, something referred to as the Vipassana insight knowledges begin to arise. And that's when you step into the Arya path of entering the stream, once returner, never returner, an arahant. It's these preceding steps that we are continually working on it to get to that place in our practice. They develop step by step and are critical in your development as a practitioner. The seventh thing the Visuddhimagga presents to us is that we must not be worried about our body or our lives. We have to place the practice right in the center of everything we are doing. And we must be developing the continuity in our practice and strive with the utmost to develop our practice continuously, day and night, without taking a break. And for those of you who have been with Ajahn Chali, when he invites people to sit up and practice with him all night and all day, all night and all day, it's this activity that begins to teach you that you are in fact capable of that kind of continuous practice. And it helps develop the factors of enlightenment. The eighth thing the Visuddhimagga presents to us is that whenever mental or physical pain arises, you should strive to note it by putting more effort into practice. In fact, when pain arises, there's a tendency or desire to change our position so that the bodily pains will disappear, because we are fearful of noting it, because we are fearful of the intensity of what we're going to experience. The Visuddhimagga is telling us we must put even more effort into our practice to overcome the pain by being aware of it with even more energy, more attention, and with more precision. Ajahn Chali's advice here is, you can't go to sleep when you're in deep pain. And so it's a gift to you if you struggle with staying awake. Stay awake with seeing the deep wisdom of the pain. And finally, the ninth and last piece of advice from the Visuddhimagga is, do not stop. Practice more and more and more until you achieve your own enlightenment. At any point along this path, we're dealing with the reality of the Damma that all things are impermanent. We are working towards and walking towards the things that are permanent, that are unconditioned, our own freedom, our own wisdom, ultimately Nibbana, Nirvana, full enlightenment. Now, to summarize the 9 pieces of advice of the Visuddhimagga, aim to realize the impermanence of mental and physical processes. Practice the Dhamma seriously and with respect. Maintain constant, uninterrupted, and continuous mindfulness by being aware of all daily activities, moment by moment, without a break for the whole day. Be sure that the 7 kinds of conditions of suitability are as present as possible to maximize practice time. Remember how to achieve the concentration that had been achieved previously. Develop the 7 factors of enlightenment. Do not worry about bodily health and life while meditating. Overcome physical pain with strenuous effort in practice. Do not stop halfway to your goal until you finally reach arahantship, your own freedom. Christina, I'm going to post this for you so you don't have to write it down. I want you to know that these materials are going to be on the IIMC site. I'll post it for you. The talk will be posted for you to review. The last thing in the world you can do, though, is to cling to it. These things are to be treasured and known about, intend to bring into your practice, but your practice has got to lead you right into these things. And it will lead you, given enough time and effort and continuous mindfulness. I've said enough. I have only run 10 minutes over. There undoubtedly will be some questions that some of you would have, and I would like to invite you to stay on after I know others have to go about the rest of their day. Pete has been unable to join us for this, but he will prepare the talk for uploading, and I'll post it onto the site as soon as I get notification of it. Ton Brian, can I ask you to lead us in the metta? There we go.
May we abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may we maintain well-being in ourselves. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its result. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their homes. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs.
Ajahn Proma, Ajahn Singto, if you could turn off your microphone, if that's possible. Both of their mic. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's very usual to pay respects to the Buddha, the Damma, and the Sangha. Wolf. Oh dear, that's not going to work. I was going to ask them to lead us in paying respects to the Buddha, the Damma, and the Sangha. And Yi and Preacha, would you please do that for us? Your microphones are turned off.
Arahang Samma
Sambuddho Bhagava
Buddhaṃ Bhagavaṃ Avivatemī Sawakkato Dhammang Namasami
Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham
Namami